Okay, hello everybody. So my topic was deforestation of the Amazon rainforest and how it is a wicked problem. So to give some background and overview, deforestation is the action of clear cutting trees in an area, and specifically in the Amazon rainforest over the past 5 years, deforestation reached a rate of 8,583 kilometers squared, with a peak of 13,038 kilometers squared in 2021. And as you can see in this little visual up here, 2021 isn't listed, but you can see that it increases as the years go on. Um, and global warming is a huge issue that arises from the deforestation of the Amazon because trees are carbon sequesters. So when all of that carbon, or when all the trees get cut down, all of that carbon gets released in the atmosphere and warms it since carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas. Um, Global warming affects thousands of people, and especially those who live in the area, which are primarily indigenous peoples that live in Brazil and other parts of South America where the Amazon is. Um, so to give a brief history of the deforestation of the Amazon, indigenous peoples have been using sustainable techniques of cutting the trees down, but there were no like short or there were no profound effects on the rainforest and the environment from their techniques. Um, and this leads into the arrival of the Europeans. This marked the start of large-scale exploitation on the rainforest, primarily in the 1960s with the introduction of chainsaws and bulldozers. And as the economy began to boom in the 20th century, following the introduction of this new technology, deforestation became a multifaceted issue. So that leads me into talking about the triple bottom line and the impacts on it. So the triple bottom line is it incorporates people, the planet, and the economy, money. So all of them are interconnected. So one big environmental problem of the deforestation in the Amazon is global warming, like stated earlier. This also leads to biodiversity loss. And from a peer-reviewed journal, I found that 85% of species listed as threatened by the International Union for the Conservation of Nature have lost habitat because of fires and deforestation since 2001. Um, some economic incentives related to this issue include agricultural expansion, mining, logging, infrastructure development. All of this means that the trees will be cut down to make room for the consumer. Um, some social problems include the effects on indigenous communities, like stated earlier. These communities really rely on the rainforest for medicinal practices, sustainable ways of living, and cultural traditions. And unfortunately, I found that from a peer-reviewed journal, legislation designed to protect and empower these communities is often inadequate, incomplete, and packed with underfunded mandates. So, as the problem is very wicked, it's hard to find a straightforward, clear-cut solution to it, but there are some solutions, and one of them that has worked is the use of GIS techniques and satellite imagery over the rainforest. This detects and reports illegal activities. As you can see here, this image is from NASA. Um, you can see like all the like towards here. This has all been deforested to make room for agricultural expansion. Um, and then to another solution is to use the environmental humanities. The environmental humanities is a range of disciplines that talk about environmental problems through the use of like arts, history, economics, politics, all of it. And if we approach the issue with a multifaceted way of thinking, thinks about the different stakeholders that interest, we can find a sustainable future ahead of us. Some of these solutions could include more policies to be made about the amount of timber being cut down a certain amount of time, and then policies that enforce indigenous people's freedoms and safety, their cultural traditions, their sustainable practices. We could also create more sustainable ways of farming that don't require slash and burn techniques. Um, we can include reforestation programs, and then which works on replanting native trees. And lastly, we could simply spread awareness of the issue more often. Um, but realistically thinking, to help solve this issue, we need to elect those in office. We need to elect those in power who care about the issue because ultimately those are the people making the decisions. Um, but yeah, um, there are lots of solutions, lots of different ways of thinking about this problem. It is a wicked problem, so there's not one solution, there's a lot. And that is my presentation.